Hello, this is Marsha McLean, your professional sister. I'm so glad that you are coming to spend another Sunday with me. I have my educators here today. We're going to do a quick check-in with them to see how everything is going and transitioning with teaching during the pandemic. We want to just get some information how we can continue to support them, as well as get some insight on how to support the kids and the parents that are going through this as well. I would like for them to come off mute now, and I'm going to start alphabetically with Ebony. If you could just let people know who you are and what you do.
Hey everybody, my name is Eboni Patterson. I am currently a kindergarten teacher in the state of North Carolina.
Okay. Next, Linda.
Hello, I'm Linda Young, and I am a life skills instructor with a nonprofit organization here in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay, great. Okay, Nicole.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Melendez. I am an educator currently in the state of North Carolina, and I am also the CEO of Teach and Tutor 2 that provides all necessary academic needs.
All right, so we're going to jump right into this conversation. I want to check on you all to see how you're doing and if you are adjusting to the new way of teaching. Is it something that you feel like is something you could continue doing, or what would be the pros and cons? Whoever wants to answer.
I'll start. I'll just say it's very challenging to start a school year out in this, what's considered a new normal, I guess. Especially when you have 5 and 6 year olds. I seen a meme on Facebook one day that had a little kid on there who appeared to be about 5 or 6 years old. And it said, so let me get this straight. You want me to learn how to type, learn how to do emails, and learn how to read all at one time. Oh, and I can say that as a kindergarten teacher, I can feel their pain because you want me to teach them how to type and answer emails and be able to read all at one time. And it's very challenging. I mean, to get a 5-year-old to sit on the computer for 5 minutes is a challenge, but to have them sit on there for anything longer than that, I don't even know if to say if it's a challenge, because it's a lot more. I mean, and I have a class with 11 students, and getting all of them to sit and be focused for 15 to 20 minutes at a time, it is very challenging, even with their parents sitting at home and helping them, because a lot of times the parents think, well, I'm not going to say anything because it's the teacher, but then you don't know how much you can say because you have a parent sitting there and they may not want you saying anything in particular to their child, especially while they're sitting there. So I will say I could continue on with this, especially during this pandemic. It's going to work out just fine. I'm allowing myself some grace. I'm allowing the parents some grace, as well as the students some grace. However, I don't foresee this as being something that I want to do in years to come.
Okay. All right.
So to piggyback off of Ebony, we are this year teaching the same grade level, but not in the same school. I am actually working with a virtual school. So we are completely virtual, meaning that the curriculum is totally different and the format is completely different. So with what Ebony is doing, she's actually doing more of this, the remote learning, where the kids get to see the teacher, interact with the teacher, interact with the students. But with virtual school, I want to liken it to kindergarten, college, because literally what they are doing is logging into a system that it provides curriculum. We support them through the curriculum. We do meet with them. I've created a schedule where I can at least have morning meetings with my students and kind of get their day kicked off, and then communicate with the parents as much as possible. But the reason we can't do the face-to-face is because our class sizes are extremely large, because a lot of parents decided to go with the virtual option. And so our class sizes are huge. And because they signed up for the virtual option, the curriculum is actually similar to taking an online course.
So so when you say huge, what do you mean by that? Because Ebony just shared that she has 11 students.
A lot of the teachers in elementary school have numbers in the 50s and 60s students. So there is no way. Yes. So there's no way. It's legal. It's legal. It is completely legal. It's good because here's how it works. They break it down by subjects and they assign 2 teachers to the large group in totality. But the 2 teachers, they specifically teach 2 subjects. So I am the ELA and social studies teacher, and then my partner is math and science. And so we've kind of decided to split them into homerooms. But even in large class sizes, 26 for a class of normal kindergartners is still a large size for a class. So we have to break them into little bite-sized groups, and there's not enough time in the day to do that. But the program was set up, and the parents understood when they signed up for it that it would not be what Eboni is offering. It would not be remote learning. It would be more of a virtual option where students are following the curriculum, and it's student-led. They're pacing themselves. The teachers are providing definitely small groups, but it's not all day. It's not all day. It's not me on the camera for hours at end teaching them these specific skills.
Okay. Linda, were you going to say something? Were you going to add when she said up to 50? I felt like you were going to say something.
I definitely wanted to say that. It doesn't seem like it would be legal. It doesn't. I mean, because how do you actually give your attention to that many children at one time? I mean, and I get what you're saying, the time is not all together, but I'm just saying, when you're thinking about teaching a class and you're thinking about getting to know each child, how hard is that?
It's not, the format is totally different. And I think a lot of parents signed up not understanding how different it would be, because the format is totally different than what everybody is expecting. It's not. So we have a few terms: remote and virtual. Remote is what Eboni is doing. I'm doing virtual, which is completely different than what remote is. And I think parents did not understand that.
I don't understand it. So tell me what's the difference. And the reason I'm asking is because I think virtual school have been around for 20 years and some people seem to do well at it. But so what's the difference between virtual and remote?
So with virtual, students are following a pace, a curriculum, and they're pacing themselves through an actual curriculum. Even though Eboni and I work for the same district, let's say, she's following the district curriculum. So if the school was to open back up, maybe tomorrow, Eboni and her babies would go back into the building. My students would not go back into the building because they are not even using the same curriculum that Eboni and her students are using. This is a completely separate curriculum. It's followed by a pacing guide, and it starts at one location, and the goal is to end at a completely different location. So it's progressive.
So Nicole, are you saying virtual is kind of like higher learning, like an adult or a teenager would do? Because you all have young kids. How do you do that?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. In support of the district, I appreciate that virtual school has been around for a long time, and there are models that we are modeling our virtual school after. And some people before the pandemic were putting their kids in kindergarten virtual schools. So there are actually elementary schools internationally, nationally, that are virtual schools because some parents like the format. They like the fact that they don't have to take their kid into a school. They don't have to homeschool. They can actually pace themselves through an actual course. And it is very different. And I think most parents, I'm going to be honest in saying, I think most parents did not understand what it would look like and what it would be. But now that they're in, the parents have been awesome. Their attitudes are positive. They are extremely flexible. I think everybody's just accepting the fact that they want their kids to be educated, regardless of how it happens at this point. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it seems like it would be, like I said, I call it kindergarten college because that's what it seems like, because they are doing a lot of self-paced work, and the parent is providing a lot more support than they would in a remote location. So again, to say, if school opens back up, my kids wouldn't go in, but Eboni's students would.
Linda, what are you seeing far as parents adjusting to versus remote or virtual, adjusting to having to be hands-on and be that support? Are you seeing them getting any frustrated, overwhelmed, or anything like that they're asking for services? And I know another issue was in poor locations, they don't even have internet. And that was a big issue. And I think one of the internet companies was offering hotspots free. I don't know if that has been implemented yet to
One,
help with some of that. Mm-hmm.
well, one of the school districts here in Birmingham, Alabama, they had, and I'm at the beginning of the pandemic, what they were doing was they had buses that had Wi-Fi, and the buses they would take the buses and drive them to areas where children may not have access, and the kids could access the Wi-Fi to do their assignments, which I thought was a great idea.
Okay.
Because
Is it successful?
as far as I know, it has been successful. I know that they've chosen some of the apartment complexes, to do that, where the kids would, access the Wi-Fi.
I guess one of my questions to you is, how are the parents doing with this transition?
Okay. Well, yeah, and the parents, we've had an increase, a large increase and parentings, and parents actually applying for our parenting classes, parenting education series. The parents that I'm seeing are frustrated with the process. They are here in Birmingham. We have multiple school districts, of which one has decided to do completely virtual, and parents were not prepared for that. When you have a child and your job is not set up in such a way where you are allowed to work from home, it's hard. You're having to find someone to care for your child in a pandemic. You're thinking about, you can send them to a daycare or some type of facility that would allow them to stay there, but you want to make sure that they remain safe. And so a lot of my parents are depending upon family members in their village, to help them out with their kids. That's, one issue that we're having. The second issue that we're having is, pretty much just the fact of some of the assignments that the children have, the parents are not able to help them with. And so I saw a meme on Facebook and I had to laugh about it because it was like, are you smarter than a third grader?
And see, Linda, that's when I jump in, because these are all the things that I think about, because you all know I'm a parent and an educator. And because I'm an educator, I feel more prepared to be able to help my own child. But there are parents out here who are struggling with bare minimum. How do I even upload an assignment? How do I get the assignment in the system? So that is why this month for September, I'm offering free homework help to parents for 2 hours a week. So the homework help, with the way it looks, is that you jump into a Zoom link. There are no more than 3 to 5 students in there. And the whole goal is to help with homework assignments, whatever they may be. It could be to upload the assignment. It could be just to figure out how to do it. And I felt like it was an opportunity to give parents breaks, because maybe they would say, all right, well, you have homework help on Monday and Wednesday. You're going to do your homework on Monday and Wednesday. I'm not even going to bother with it on Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. We're just going to do it on Monday and Wednesday. And I think we need to have these resources out here to help parents, because it is a struggle. It's a struggle.
Eboni, do they have any resources at your school for parents like what Nicole is offering? Or do you get them together and I don't know how, like, parent meetings are like, or do they need those a little bit more? What are you saying on your end?
For me in particular, from what I see, I'm not certain that we've started off with having the parent meetings just as of yet. I do personally offer to my parents who need help. I offer them to have a personal one-on-one meeting with me whenever they need. So I open up my office hours for certain times, but then I also do by appointment only, so that if the parents need help figuring out how to upload, then I can share and present my screen to them and show them exactly where to go and walk them through it step by step. I also, if they have any issue with any of the assignments, which right now my students are 5 and 6, I'm doing bare minimums, trying to learn what they know already coming into me. So I don't have anything where the parents would probably find it difficult I'm going to do like individual assessments this week where I'll be working one-on-one with kids at scheduled times and stuff. So the parents will have that opportunity to be able to ask questions after I've done an assessment with their kid. But we don't have anything, to my knowledge, set up where like Nicole offers the homework help. We do have like scheduled parent meetings, but it may be once a week, maybe just once every 2 weeks or once a month. I'm not sure just of yet how it's going for this school year, but I know they've had them when we started out with this COVID thing in March. And I was going to add too that as a parent, like Ms. Linda said, that you know, I have a 7th grader and a 9th grader this year, and they're both doing virtual. And they do have certain times where they do meets, and I haven't seen anything offered by my kids' school system that offers anything to help. And fortunately, as Nicole has said, I'm an educator and I am a little bit better equipped and better prepared to be able to help my kids. But it is very frustrating as a parent to look at the assignments that your kids are doing, and not to mention, like, it seems like some, and I'll say some because I don't know what other districts are doing, but my students, my personal students, my kids, they're getting an extreme amount of work to be due in a week's time. And I was like, wait, I'm taking a little bit. Like, in one day, I got 10 notifications from one of my child's teachers about new assignments being created. And I thought, how are we supposed to get all of these done? Because it's not like just one day. It's today she popped off 10 assignments, and then another day.
Does she have to do that, or like for her class, or it's required that, you know, you all do a certain amount of assignments a day?
Oh, I think it's just required, and they're due by the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think there's a certain amount of assignments.
Yeah.
And see, Ebony probably can attest to this. I feel like, this is me as an educator, I feel like now that teachers have these systems in place where a lot of these assignments that they give can be pre-graded before they come to them. It's easier to get grades, because if I send you an assignment out on, like, say for instance, a Google Classroom, and I set it up where it comes back in the form of a grade on like a Google Doc, that's easy access for me. So I think they're getting more assignments because it's easier for teachers to assign. And then I think a lot of teachers are assigning as well because they are not really getting as much face-to-face as they're used to getting. So I think it's just a conversation that needs to happen between the teachers and the parents. And like Ebony was saying, I actually had a parent last week who, she is an educator, and she has 3 of her own children who are actually in virtual school, and she is required to go into her building and virtually teach from her classroom from 8 to 3:30 every day. And she brings all 3 of her children with her. All 3 of them are on a laptop in the classroom with her while she's working, teaching other people's children while they're at home. And she literally started crying, trying to explain to me why she couldn't keep up. And I wasn't worried about the work, because to me, it's like, how do we help these parents who are completely just exhausted from this and trying to manage? And I posted, one of my girlfriends posted this article about the working mom is just being taken under during this pandemic, and mental health, physically, they're dying. You know, they're just overwhelmed. And one of my Facebook friends actually she sent me a personal text message to say, I saw what you posted. I will keep her kids. Find out from her what kind of help she needs. I will help her. And they gave me chills, because that's why we have these open and social forums. It's not for likes, it's not for loves, it's not for anything. It really is to help each other. And she texted me on my personal phone and said that she would help this parent. And I can't, you know, because it's my job, I can't like call her this weekend, but I can't wait until I can log on tomorrow to tell this mom, I might have some help for you, because she needs help. Right. She needs help.
And I'm glad that you said that, because so many people are saying, well, why are y'all doing all these lives and stuff? And it's not for a like, because God knows you don't hit the like button. But I'm saying people need support. You know, they need guidance. And why not use an opportunity to encourage people? I don't get that. And I agree with you, because there's a lot of single parents out here that have very limited support and are at their breaking point, and making sure that they know about resources and services and all these types of things. And not just that, I know some of my clients have said, do you know somewhere where I can get extra food, hygiene packs, and all these type of things, because their kids at home more, I guess they're going through stuff more,
They
and it's
are.
taking a toll on their finances. And some people have lost their jobs,
They
you
are.
know, and that's what it's for, to get information out. That's, we're trying to advocate and provide support in the only way that we know how. We're utilizing our voice, you know. So I appreciate you for saying that, because it's not about a like. It really is not. It's about giving you information and providing you support. And I hope that we are providing that. I want to get back.
I'm sorry, Marcia. Can we go back just a minute, if you don't mind?
Sure.
I want to go
Yes.
back and kind of, I guess ask questions for Ebony, as it relates to the notifications that you're receiving from your teachers. One of the things that I can say, and I'm not going to name my child's school system, but I haven't received any notifications from. I haven't received anything from a teacher. Nothing. I mean,
And that's the other problem.
maybe it's because
That's
maybe it's because my son is in 12th grade. I don't.
no, because I will tell you, and it could be just the high school thing, because for my one child who's in the 9th grade,
Okay.
I think it depends on the teacher.
Okay.
I really think it depends on the teacher, because I have received notifications from a couple of his teachers about assignments that are due, assignments that have been graded. But some of the teachers, I do know that we had one teacher who my son kept reaching out because he couldn't get into whatever the program was supposed to be that he was supposed to be going to the classroom. My son sent email after email after email. And finally, because I teach my kids how to be advocates for themselves, to contact the teachers and communicate so that they'll know how to start doing those things.
Right.
So he's not receiving a response. Finally, I emailed and I CC'd the assistant principal. So you know that I mean business. And I had an email back in less than 24 hours about what was supposed to take place. But my daughter's middle school, they have been very phenomenal. And it's two teachers, like Nicole said, because it's virtual for her. She has two teachers specifically that we deal with, one for math and science, one for ELA and social studies. And this math and science teacher, if she don't stop sending me notifications and popping off all these things, girl, I don't know what we're going to do. Because I said, goodness
Ebony,
gracious.
she might be watching, Miss Patterson.
Well, I hope she's listening then.
But look, you know what's funny, Linda? You touched on a subject that we were talking about. Accountability is real right now. So here's the funny part: accountability on the side of parents and on the side of educators. So right now, what you're seeing are parents who have been like, "Oh my God," like really not involved, and now are like forced to be involved in a way that they didn't want to be. And then you have educators who were just maybe just skating through, and now they have checks and balances in place that are making them more accountable. So accountability is a trip. And you know what's funny is one of my, and I'm gonna let you, Marsha, one of my clients, my private tutoring clients, she called me and said her daughter broke down when she hung up on a Zoom call with the teacher crying. And I said, why? Because her daughter's very emotional. I love her, but she's very emotional. She said, I said, why? She said, I heard her asking the teacher to explain to her the instructions again. And the teacher told her she didn't have time to keep explaining it to her in the way that she needed to understand it. I said, what? I said, so she said, so what? And her daughter's only in the 6th grade or something, 6th grade. So she said, well, what should I do? I said, if it causes you feelings, then you contact that teacher. I said, if your daughter was upset enough to cry, then her feelings matter. And that's a conversation that needs to happen between you and the teacher. I wouldn't encourage her to say anything to the teacher. When the teacher caused her tears to fall, that's when you step in as a mom and you just say, look, I'm not saying come at her neck, but just say, look, when you hung up the other day on the Zoom call, my child was visibly upset. I'm not really sure what took place. What can you suggest I do if she does not understand? I said, put it back on the teacher. Right. What can I do to help her if she does not understand the instructions clearly? How can I help to support her through this? Because there's no reason why these kids should be at the house crying and frustrated over this. Yeah, I just
absolutely. What would you do if they were in? What would you do if they were at school? You would contact the teacher, right? You know, you can't go to the school, but you have some contact information. But I like what you're saying about accountability, and you're putting it on both sides. You know, you know, let's work together for this child to be successful, do well. And I'm glad, I hate that that happened to that child, but I think you gave that parent some education. Hey, you still have connection to this teacher. You need to call and ask them for help. I'm gonna stop right now just for a moment. I need y'all to hit the like button and share. God bless you so much on this Sunday. It's several of you all watching, and I just want you to tap like, and hit the share. I know you may not like to share to your timeline, but that's what the messenger is for. Or you can copy and send it in the text. Okay. God bless you and thank you. Let's continue on. Linda, what was you saying?
I was actually going to agree with Nicole that mental health, the mental health of our children is important. They need to know that their feelings are being validated, and that you know, that their feelings matter, and that they should be able, we should teach them to express how they feel. If that child was emotional, that's just her personality, that's her personal makeup, that's the way that she is. And I you know, I can speak for myself. I'm one that is, I get very emotional about certain things. And so tears may fall for the silliest of reason, you know, but it's me, it's my makeup, and I accept who I am. And I want our children to feel the same way. Don't feel like there's something wrong with you because you didn't understand the way in which a teacher explained something to you. Sometimes we have to hear things 2 and 3 times. That's it.
And I want to tell you something that it kind of bothered me as a parent listening, and especially bothered me as an educator, because one morning while my the one teacher was on the Zoom meeting, and so the teacher says, so guys, tell me how you're feeling. And some of the kids says, I'm overwhelmed. I feel like you've given us a lot of work to do. And I just want to know why you're giving us all this work, because it seems like she's given a multitude of work. When I tell you, I'm telling you every other day, I don't know how many assignments this lady's popping off, but at least 10. And they're due by the end of the week. So I get it. You know, like the accountability piece comes into play. But I kind of felt like as a teacher, that maybe she's feeling overwhelmed herself, but also maybe she's not quite as organized, and this is new for her. And, because this is new for us all going to a school year. This is no school year that we've ever been like this. So I get it. I totally get it. But my daughter got off, and I was listening to her and listening to my meeting as well. And she said, did you hear what she said? I said, yes, I heard what she said. Because when the kid asked that question, she said, well, I'm giving you all this work because you all have been a bunch of slackers. And I'm thinking, they've been in school for only 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, and we're a bunch of slackers. I mean, I know they're 7th grade, and she does. Honestly, whatever kids she has on there that's virtual, y'all, it's almost like she's in a real classroom for real, because those kids on there be wilding out just like if they were in the real classroom. My daughter is not.
But I love that. I love that. Because now parents get to hear what's really being said in the class. I love it.
But I have a question to that. Do you all have to call or report anything if a child is left alone? Because, like if somebody, have you all noticed that? Or have you all asked your school systems, what do you do if you notice?
Based on the law, we have to report any signs of abuse or neglect. So if I'm a kindergarten teacher and the child in the house by themselves, oh yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You just, based on our license, we have to report.
Okay, so I was just wondering, because I know that, what you say, Londa?
Is that an issue? Is this...
Well, I just noticed it's something, I'm getting questions on my phone. So I'm asking.
It's real. People are leaving. You hit the nail on the head. Some people, and this is the thing, some people are, like you said, their situation is not ideal. That's why for me, it's slightly uncomfortable to have this conversation, because thank the good Lord above, I'm able to stay home. I'm able to work. I'm able to sit by my son while he works. And I would say, who am I? I dare not complain. But there are some people in situations for real who have to go to work, and they have to decide, look, you might have to stay in the house with your brother or your sister and work virtually while I'm out of the house. So it is happening. And kids are being told not to say anything.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, and it's the same thing that's always been happening. But now you have a screen in your house. You have ears and eyes inside of your house, so it makes it a little more difficult to be able to get away with those types of things that they've always been happening.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering, and that's what's causing an issue is, not just the education piece, but the family life is all meshed together now and trying to figure out, what to do. So that's why I was wondering, somebody texted me that, but unfortunately we have noticed an increase in neglecting those type of things. And, so now child protective services workers are being swamped and inundated with new cases and all these type of stuff. It's just an unfortunate situation.
Right. And the organization that I work with, we are working hand in hand with our Department of Human Resources in those situations. It's definitely, like I said, it's been an increase in the parenting. Parents getting caught doing these kind of things. And they're the ones that are ending up in the classroom setting with me. I don't know what to say.
Listen, Linda, we had one of my friends, I hope I can share this, but it's not a specific school, but one of my friends had a father who got out the shower with a towel wrapped around his waist and walked by the Zoom meeting in front of the kids. The mom keeps coming with just a t-shirt and underwear on, it's like, okay, so I don't think any of this stuff is new. I just think it's almost like, and I hate to talk about this, but like police brutality and camera phones. It's always existed, except now it's polarized because we are in the home. This stuff has been going on. We just didn't know because the parents would say, don't tell. And now with your own eyes, you actually seeing it, and with your own ears, even in the distance, you're hearing it.
And then another thing too, from a therapy standpoint, for about 5 or 6 years, I did in-home therapy where I had to go to people's homes. And I'll bring up this story where a woman answered the door in her bra. And she said, Miss Marcia, you family, come on in. And I was like, no, put your shirt on and I'll come in. And so and that's why I'm wondering, do you have to have some of that kitchen table talk with some of these parents? Because they may not know boundaries, and that's why you see it with the children. They don't know boundaries. But
there's a new meme going around, and I liked it and I laughed at it because it said something to the nature of the teacher better not be trying to tell me what to do up in my house.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, y'all in my house. I invited you in my house. Don't be trying to tell me what to do up in my house. And it's funny, but it's real because that's the kind of comments. And see, we're in North Carolina, but I have a lot of friends who are in Philadelphia, and you hear the Philly accent. Parents will tell you straight up, this is my house. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me how to walk around in my house. Teach that kid and mind your business.
Okay, well, what about this way? Let's just have a conversation of I just want to, let you know my obligations as a parent. I'm sorry, as a teacher. And, if I see certain things or whatever, just maybe an education, does that help? Because I don't want them to fold down the computer, like, get out of here. I don't want that to happen. But, it sounds like it's some boundaries being, and then we don't want the kids embarrassed because mom and dad, walk around in your underwear, right? But buy the kid on the computer. Come on.
Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. That is a conversation I will have with my parents tomorrow.
Yes. And you know what's funny? I'm actually doing a parent summit. Linda, you know what, Linda? I might have to talk to you because I'm actually doing a parent summit on the 25th to have a conversation with parents about what you can control and what you cannot control.
I like that.
Some things you just can't control, but there are some things that you really can, in the scope of things, control yourself as a parent.
That's right. And it can help you, like if you know these things, it can kind of help you in having that communication. And some people need that self-regulation where they don't get offended. They just receive the information. So I think a summit like that is awesome. I want to transition to something else. I want to discuss COVID-19, this pandemic. So it's been in the news lately. We are in North Carolina and Alabama is also represented. But I've noticed in the national news that since schools have opened in colleges and all that, that they're seeing an increase in COVID-19 cases with people who work in the school system. And I want to know, are they providing you all any support, any offering you any free COVID-19 testing or anything like that? Or is it just like, hey, so-and-so may have COVID and that's it, like it's a blurb? Or do you get what I'm saying?
So, personally, for my school system, I don't know exactly what they're offering. I do know, since we are not in the building working, that if there is a case, they let us know, because we are still free to come to the building to get materials and stuff that we might need. So if there is a case, they are letting us know, do not come because there's been a confirmed whatever, if there has been one or not. Now, as far as free testing and all of that goes, I ain't heard none of that.
Okay.
But if something happens and we were to contract, or somebody in our family member, they of course they've given us the leave time that we're able to take up under the COVID-19. I don't know, benefit, I guess, to say that there's a benefit up under that where you are allotted X amount of time to take out of work to either take care of yourself or someone in your family. Now, I don't know about you getting a test for free, but I know that you'll have some time.
I just didn't know, because I look at teachers now like first responder, like, y'all are on those front lines. I know the ones may not be, because some schools are actually in class. But I'm just wondering, what are they doing? And I think one school system in New York, I believe, they protested. They were like, we're not going into the school at all or something. I think they got their demands met, or some of them. But I'm just wondering, what are they doing to just let you all know that we appreciate, what you're doing, if that makes any sense.
One of the things, Marcia, is that, you remember we had this conversation before school started, and we all knew that we were going to get cases. We knew that we were going to have students that were infected. We knew other staff and faculty would be infected. And what people promised, and not our district, I'm not saying this because it's illegal to speak bad about my employer. But one thing I will say about our district is that they are really ahead of the curve, and they're ensuring our safety by allowing us to stay home and not having us go back in the building. But then you have some districts who are sending staff members in the building and students in the building, and then they're not even quarantining or shutting down the entire building. They're just telling people, okay, the CDC, somebody told me this is what their administrator told them. The CDC, we have a case. The family has been quarantined. If you are contacted by the CDC, then that means that you have been in contact with that family. What? So it's not even, they can't even tell you, right? So they didn't shut the whole school down. They just told staff, I don't even answer 800 numbers on my phone. So I'm not being funny, but I'm serious. If a number calls me that I don't know and I don't answer it, how am I supposed to know? So now you got people home panicked and worried to death because they don't know who this person was. It's all anonymous. The school is still open and active. You have no clue who's missing and who's not missing. These are not the things that should be going on. It should not be, all right, well, the CDC will contact you and let you know if you've been in contact with that student or their family. I don't know what else should be happening. I just feel like, I think it was in Hawaii, when Hawaii said that they will open schools when they can go a 30-day period with 0 cases. To me, that makes sense. Like, why should because it's like, it's compounded. We're going back into the building. People are getting sick. They're going back home. It's like cyclical. It's like, when is this going to end?
It's like until
some logic kicks in and says, all right, let's shut all this down. And with our privilege, because really it's privileged behavior. We can stay in the house for 30 days. We can stock some food up. Let's just stay in for 30 days and let's see what happens. Because in the beginning of the pandemic, we talked about doing that and that never happened. And now we're dealing with situations like this. I've not, and Linda, you can let me know if I'm like speaking out of turn, but I have not heard of any school or any school district shutting down the whole entire school for a case. It's more of just notifying staff that there may have been a case and then telling them that you may need to quarantine. But if you are required to work, you still are required to be in that building. And so the CDC is going to let you know if you have been exposed.
Yeah, and I think that's not a wise way to do it. And I also think they need some counselors in there to help people with coping skills. And we're all learning this together, but it's overwhelming to the parents as well as to you all. They, to have some good workshops or something, or virtual. Let's talk about self-care. Let's talk about time management. Those type of things where you can kind of feel support. And you all have given me an idea. Maybe that's something I definitely can provide too, like a summit to kind of help for people to know those type of things. But it's just unfortunate that it's like that. I want to talk about real quick about what are your all thoughts on schools that are doing sports? What are your thoughts about that?
I can speak to that because I have a son who is a football player.
Mhm.
And I can honestly say that in the beginning and still now, I'm very concerned about their process. In the beginning, I was really, really concerned because I don't know, we know that COVID is out there. It's out there. The way in which they did it, their practices is that they kind of set it apart where they had certain positions playing or practicing at certain times. So all of the entire football team was not there. So it was a quarantine, not really quarantine, but a social distancing of sort. And my son has been fine. The first game that we went to, I was a little bit concerned because I noticed that parents were not wearing masks. I was there with the mask and I refused to go into the stands. And so now I see, that people have gotten to a point where they understand that if, in fact, and this is just my personal opinion, that if my son and his team have worked hard to maintain their health and they're going to come in and entertain you, then the least that you can do as as someone who is, they're being entertained. Wear a mask. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Keep my child and everyone else's child safe.
And I can't attest right at this very moment, but I am in the process of my son, even though he's virtual school, he will have the opportunity to go play basketball with his high school. And they're having a interest meeting tomorrow and Thursday of this week. And I think my son's a little bit nervous because he don't want to be sick, but he wants to play. And he also plays AAU ball, and he hasn't played all summer, which we normally are gone all summer. And his coach even asked a couple of weeks ago, he said, hey, I found some games, but they're not here in North Carolina, but they're in South Carolina. And he has been taking another team, and they've all been safe. And so I said, well, how are they doing with the COVID? What are they doing to ensure the safety of everybody? And he says that everybody that comes in, if you're coming in to be a spectator, you have to wear a mask, and you can sit only close with your family members and those you came with, and try to space out. They try to make sure there's enough spacing so that everybody is not sitting on top of each other. And he said as soon as one game is over, they have a crew that comes in and sanitizes and sprays down. He said you're allowed to come back in to watch another game after that, but as soon as one game is over, they come in and they spray and sanitize. He said, of course, they don't do a deep clean just as of yet, but at least they do come in and sanitize. So my son wants to play ball this year, but I think he's still kind of hesitant about going out because he's like, I just don't want to be sick. I don't want to be sick. He's a healthy kid. He does not have any underlying health conditions. I think that, I have underlying health conditions, which I've been very healthy at this point, and I work a part-time job at a grocery store as well in the evening times, and I wear my mask, and when I go to the grocery store, I wear my mask, and we haven't been a lot of places, so it worries me for him to go out there and be with other people because I don't know who they've been around, and I don't know what precautions they've taken. However, if he wants to play, I want him to have that opportunity to go play. But then I'm kind of cautious like him, but I won't make the decision for him because I do think he's at an age where he can say, yes, I want to go do it, or no, I don't want to go do it. And I'm not going to force him to go do it or to stay at home if he's thinking that he could want to go and play.
And that's good because he probably wants some normalcy. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, I was saying I totally agree with that.
Mhm.
That we have to allow them to get to a position where they can make decisions for themselves. We're not going to always be here for them.
Right.
We have to lay that foundation when it comes to the parenting portion of it. When it comes to my son, this is his last year, his senior year, and I had to pray about it. I honestly did because it made me very nervous. I know that he has gotten a couple of offers already, and I know that the schools need to see him play in
Right.
order for him to get, the football offers that he's looking to get. And so I had a conversation with him because his health is his health. He
Right.
has to be an advocate for it. You have to wear a mask. You have to social distance. You have to make sure that you're sanitizing. Follow the CDC guidelines that have been given. Every time he leaves the house, I'm asking, do you have your mask? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you going to be with? Those kind of things. But we want to make sure that they're safe. We do. And so I totally.
Yeah.
And Marsha, this is like a piggyback on a conversation that I was having with some parents who have sent their kids off to college. And then I have a friend whose son was, contracted with the college to play football. So the conversation that we've been having is, how do you, right now, we know that there is no actual vaccination. There's no end in sight to COVID-19. So how do you safely re-enter with caution? Not completely, but doing some things that require forward movement. You have to be educated. You have to, some of these kids are playing sports because they need it for college purposes, or this is their future. They want to play professional sports. So how do you tell them, as two parents who have to really deal with that right now, that's a difficult decision. And I think you ladies did an awesome job with leaving it up to them to make that decision. Because in reality, we could be in this pandemic for the next few years. I mean, I hate to, we don't know. It's an undetermined amount of time as to when COVID-19 is going to leave, and we can't stay hidden in the house. But I don't want us to be so reckless that we forget that we are in a pandemic, but we do have to start having conversations with our children about how to engage in some activities that may be required for your future, not for, not just for social reasons, but for your future.
Absolutely. And I think too that provides a sense of normalcy for them. So what I would suggest that you all do, or anybody that's watching and your child says, I want to play sports, have a conversation with them, rope their primary care in, let them know the risk, like do a pros and cons. But if they're saying I really want to play and connect, they need that just to kind of feel like a normal, normalcy. That's made something that's been a consistent and could be beneficial. But just weigh the pros and cons, because what happens in one other person's house cannot happen in another person's house. Yeah. But I'm glad that you can have these conversations. I think COVID-19 has caused us to have these difficult conversations. But like you said, we're transitioning and progressing on. Before we end today, I want to talk about, now we don't bash the president here. Okay. We can give him the side eye and but that's about it. But I'm going to tell you, I thought about all three of you when we found out if it's true. Well, he said in his own words, like he knew about the pandemic before and that it was airborne. And I know he's getting a lot of backlash, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because he knew this. And do you think, knowing that something could have been prevented? Because the reason why it affected me so bad, where I was nervous, because I couldn't believe they were open colleges back up. I was like, are you kidding me? Some people have young adults, that's getting away from home for the very first time, and you're going to open up college, and like within a week, like at UNC Chapel Hill, they opened 1 week and had to close right back down the next. It's like they had nobody there saying, let's reason with this. And right. I'm wondering if the president had talked more about it or put some more seriousness to it, because some of this had been prevented. I don't want to put it all on him, but he is the leader of the country, right? Right now. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. But like I said, we don't do bash, a little light tapping, but that's about it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, by education and by trade, I am a healthcare professional.
Okay.
Um, I have done mental health. I mean, not mental health. I'm sorry. Epidemiology type work. Um, I'm just trying to find the easiest way to say this, but I'm just
Go
going to
ahead and say this. Go ahead.
under President Obama, there was Ebola,
Hmm.
which was
Yeah, it was.
which could have been a pandemic, but
Okay.
it didn't turn into the situation that we have with COVID. If you have someone who cares, someone who will listen to others, someone who will acknowledge that other people may be an expert in situations that they're not an expert in, then I think that we would have a different situation with COVID. And so that's just my personal opinion on it. We knew it was coming because we have the clip from 4 or 5 years ago with President Obama.
Right.
And we know that there were organizations that were disbanded that would have assisted with us being able to eliminate COVID from becoming what it became here in the United States. And so that's just like I said, I just stated facts. That's it.
Okay. So, Marsha, to kind of piggyback off of what you said that do we think if people were informed about the fact that it may have been airborne, would they have changed their mind about some of the decisions that they made? I look at it from a different perspective. I look at it from when people show you who they are, believe them. We kind of know who he is, know what he represents. And I'm no longer surprised by anything that we hear. I think people need to use their own logic and educate and use logic like Eboni and Linda said, they were using their own logic based on what they knew. It was a pandemic. We didn't know how it was spread. None of us really knew, even though they just said it's not airborne, it's not airborne. Listen, if you cough, I'm being logical. If I'm wearing a mask, it's because something in my breath or something coming out my nose is causing the next person to contract this. So even though he didn't say it, the precautions they were telling us to take, in my mind, logically said that it's a possibility that these things could be airborne. So I can't say that I was surprised by the fact that he kept that to himself. I just say that I don't think parents would have made a different decision because I think parents are making decisions the same way Eboni and Linda and myself are making decisions. What brings me the most peace? What is the most logical? How can I help my child to come out of this and still be mentally intact? So a lot of these parents I have lots of friends who actually sent their freshmen off to college. And they knew that we were in a pandemic and they sent them on a prayer and hoping that, the college would do what they said they would do. They would ensure that kids would remain socially distant. They would ensure that the class sizes would be small, that they would sanitize dorm rooms, all these things that the colleges ensured that they would put in place, kind of like Eboni was saying about the AAU. Parents educated themselves about where they were sending their children and for their kids' sake, because they didn't get a chance to have a high school graduation. They didn't get a chance to walk across the stage and get a diploma. Some of these parents just decided, if this is what my child wants to do for themselves, then I have to support them regardless of what they are saying in the White House. Because the truth is, the information is out here. We are in the middle of a pandemic. And so whatever that means to you, you're processing that and you're moving forward in your own personal life the way that you choose to do it. And I think some people are in denial about the fact that we are in a pandemic. Everybody wants to liken it to a flu and all these other things. That's just my personal opinion. And people keep saying it's a flu. We have these people in their opinions. And I say people are going to do what works best for them and bring them the most peace. I hate to put it on one person because the way that I look at it is we have an obligation. In November, if we don't like what's going on, you need to get out there and vote. That's it. Bottom line.
Can I add to that? Let me add to what you just said, Nicole. We can't put it on one person because you are the leader of the free world.
You're right.
This is a pandemic. You
Yes.
are the leader of a free world, of the free world. People are following you. They're watching what you do.
Why are they doing that? It's like the devil show you they the devil, you will still follow. I'm not saying that that's what he is, but I'm just saying I don't know when logic kicks in. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm just saying, that's my personal opinion. You are the leader, and people follow you. They
and like I said, I'll be honest with you. I was listening to him. I didn't agree with what he was doing, but when he came out and admitted, I knew, but I was trying to keep stuff down. What he said in the press conference, I was like, these people are following you. Why would you want to keep it down and it's airborne and all? That's the logic I didn't get. But I don't bash him because I don't know what it's like to be president or the Trump, Donald Trump. I don't know, but I don't understand why people follow him. And I will say this, and I'm getting totally off topic, but I will say this. I know people have told me, well, I just follow him because he's good for the money and economy. And I always tell people, all money not good money. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Ebony, what do you have to say?
I was going to say, let me just say one thing. A few years back, my principal said a statement to me that I always carry with me, and she says, in the classroom, when you're going to your classroom, you are the expert. Know your job and do it well. So don't let the parents come in here to tell you how to do your job. As the president, you are the president of the United States. You should know your job. You should be doing it well. When you have your medical degree, then you go and you do that job well. But until then, you don't have that. So you need to stay in your lane. Period. All of us, the president should stay in his lane and let the medical experts speak and stop seeking out people to validate him and his reasoning behind the choices that he's making for us, because he's not making good choices for everybody. He's making choices for the money and the pockets. And that's just my personal opinion as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because as long as COVID exists, the economy is taking a nosedive. So just like you said, even though all money is not good money, we're about to have no money. So we're focused on the economy, but people aren't working. Stocks are down. Crime is up. Mental health is up. I mean, the world is like literally falling apart.
Okay.
Right. When I go say the world, the United States is literally falling apart because not the rest of the world.
All right. Well, I am going to have to end it right there. We have had some good conversation. I hope maybe we can check in a little bit later, maybe in this is September, in October. And I want you all to just know that September is National Suicide Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. And I am going to put in the link for National Suicide Awareness, the 1-800 number. And it's also Recovery Month. Anybody that has dealing with addictions. It's also Recovery Month. But October is coming up also, and that is Domestic Violence Month. And we touched on that a little bit today. So educate yourself. I love what Ebony and London said. Educate yourself. Have some discussion with your children so you all can make the best decision for your family. And remember, Nicole offered to do free tutoring, 2 hours tutoring, and I have put that in the link as well. We are here to support you. Please reach out if we can assist. You have my information. You can message me, email me, or text me like some of you do, the ones who have my number. But I just want to say thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and just have a good week, and may the best belong to you. Ladies, if you'll hold on the line.